The Oklahoma State Thunder are going into day 2 of the 2024-2025 training camp season here, and they have a ton of decisions that they have to make that could potentially produce the best duo in the entirety of the NBA, and it's not one that you normally think of. You might be thinking, oh, is it J-Dub and Shai? Is it J-Dub and Chet? Chet and Shai? It's got to be one of those three guys. It doesn't involve any of them. It's with Lu Dort and Alex Caruso, how they could potentially be the best duo in the entirety of the NBA for one singular reason: their defensive ability. They are two of the best defenders in the entirety of the NBA, and have them either on the court at the same time, or what I think would be best, have them come in and sub for each other, could prove them to be the best duo in the league. Not because they're on the floor with each other at the same time, but it's the fact that they're so similar in defensive presence and abilities that once you take one off, another of them is pretty much coming onto the court at the same time. We're going to break it down today here on Thunder Digest. Also, to kind of go in and talking about who would you rather have starting, Alex Caruso or Lu Dort. I'm going to go ahead and give you my opinion on that as well later in this video, so stick around. Before we get all that, though, I want to take a quick moment and recognize that still around 62.5% of you guys that are coming back and watching these videos are not subscribed to the channel yet. If you find yourself coming back on a regular basis and watching these videos all the way through, or if you're new to the channel and you're like what we're doing here at Thunder Digest, go ahead, hit that subscribe button. It's the best way to support the channel. With that out of the way, we can go ahead and get into talking about what we have here at hand today. And it's about Alex Caruso and Lu Dort. Like mentioned earlier in the little intro, which you guys saw in the video as well there. This is a duo that, like I mentioned, it's not your typical duo, oh, on the court together, they're the best players in the NBA. I don't really see them being on the court with each other besides maybe like 8 minutes out of the entirety of an NBA game. They're not going to be on the court with each other all that much. They're going to be coming in and subbing in for each other quite a bit is what I personally see going on for these two, which can make it an insane duo. The number 1 perimeter defender and the number 2 perimeter defender in the NBA coming out there and defending whoever their number 1 player is on the court. Like, imagine Lu Dort on Luka Doncic, who he held to 24 points per game in that playoff series. He needs a break. He's coming off. Luka's finally like, oh, thank God I can get a breather here. I don't need to worry about Lu Dort anymore. On comes Alex Caruso, who is arguably just as good of a defender as Lu Dort. And some might even say he's better of a defender than Lu Dort. Can you imagine that for opposing teams, getting stuck with the 2 best perimeter defenders right there in the league? And if you somehow get by them, you have Hartenstein and Chet down low to back them up. And when I say the best perimeter defenders in the league, I'm not talking my opinion, my personal opinion. It is, factually correct. These are the 2 best perimeter defenders in isolation defense in the entirety of the NBA. Lu Dort at 1, Alex Caruso at 2. Then you have guys like Jaden McDaniels, Vince Williams Jr., OG, Asur Thompson, Derrick Jones Jr., who I think is a very underrated defender. People don't talk about him as much of a defender as he should be getting recognized. We saw it in the Dallas OKC series last year in the playoffs. He is a really good defender that people don't recognize and give him the recognition that he deserves. Just like Lu Dort, who finished first in perimeter isolation defense. Let that sink in. He finished first in a minimum of 1,000 minutes per game. And I think that's another reason why Cason Wallace was on this list. I don't think he reached the 1,000 minute requirement right there, and so that might be why he's not left off. Why he's left off that list. A lot of people were talking about like, where's Cason Wallace? Where's so and so? Blah 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 blah. If they probably didn't reach the requirement for minutes played to make it onto the list, because Cason Wallace was like our 7th, 8th guy coming off the bench, and he was still arguably the best rookie perimeter defender. If not, you can put him at like 2nd or 3rd because of Asur Thompson right there. But arguably, he was the best perimeter defender in that rookie class, and he's only going to be getting better. Now, I did find an article talking about this as well that we're going to go ahead and dive into right now, so you guys can go in and see. It's by Brody Bitters over at the Sporting World, I think is what it's called. Dort has been one of the most underrated defenders in the league since he was drafted back in 2019. Aside from being tasked with guarding the best player on every team, Dort held players to 36.5% shooting from 3 and averaged 1 steal per game last season. Given the players he guards are typically all-star caliber, those statistics are quite impressive. Despite being ranked first in perimeter isolation defense and placing in a variety of other defensive categories, Dort has been snubbed of many all-defensive teams for years. It will only be a matter of time until Dort gets the recognition he deserves. As for the newly acquired Caruso, his resume speaks for itself. Not only has Caruso made back-to-back all-defensive teams, but he has placed within the top 15 of Defensive Player of the Year votes. Averaging over 1 steal a game and nearly 1 block for his career, Caruso has continuously shown his defensive impact on every team he has been a part of. And this is what I'm getting at, why this could be the best duo in the NBA. People are constantly saying Caruso might be the best guard defender in the league, the best perimeter defender in the league. And people are starting to say the same thing for Lu Dort after they saw what he was doing to Luka Doncic in the playoffs. Yes, OKC lost that series. But Luka was held to the least amount of points he scored in a series, averaging wise, when playing the Thunder, when being guarded by Luka Doncic. And like I mentioned, 24 points per game. Luka Doncic, who usually averaged 34 points a game, had 10 points less when he was guarded by Lu Dort. That is insane. Now we have Alex Caruso to add to this squad. This is why I said they can be the best defensive, or not defensive duo, but best duo in the league. Because how are you going to score on them? How? There's really no way you can score on them if you're trying to be isolated. Even with Caruso, if you're not trying to isolate, he fights through screens well. Lu Dort, he fights through screens well. That's a big body. He's a big dude. He looks like a NFL middle linebacker. You're not going to be able to screen Dort. All right? It's insane. This could definitely be the best duo in the league. Now it goes into who should start? Dort, Caruso. This is where I'm going to give you my opinion. We'll go ahead, look at the stats so you can see what all I'm talking about here, so you can kind of, get a feel for your own opinion as well. Here's Alex Caruso last season, averaging 10 points a game, 4 rebounds, 3 assists, a block, and a steal a game, less than 2 turnovers, 2.5 fouls a game, 46% from the field, and 40% from the three-point line. He's 6'5", 30 years old, so he's definitely on the older side there. But he also has a ring, which helps us out for championship experience. 40% on corner threes, 89% of his threes are assisted, and 61% of all of his shots are three-pointers. These are pretty good stats, all right? He's one of the best role players in the league, and if he's coming off the bench, I think he can win Sixth Man of the Year. No doubt about it in my mind. Now, let's move on to Lu Dort, who has been with the team for quite a long time. You notice the stats aren't really all that different here. They're not. 11 points a game. We can round that up to 4 rebounds as well, 3.6, high end, round it up to 4. 1 assist a game, half a block a game, a steal a game, less than a turnover a game, which I really love to see there. 3 fouls a game, so he's fouling a little bit more, but that's also because he plays so aggressive. 44% from the field and 39% from the three-point line. 6'3", 25 years old. He's younger than Caruso. He's about to enter the prime of his career. 41% on corner threes. 99% of his threes are assisted, and 60% of all of his shots are threes. So this is where I get into looking at it like, okay, who would I rather have in that starting lineup? Because I feel like it's kind of known Hartenstein is going to be in the starting lineup, or at least I think it would be best to have him in the starting 5. That's my personal opinion right there. It just comes down to, okay, does Lu Dort stay as a starter, or do we move Alex Caruso there and Lu Dort comes off the bench? The thing that I'm noticing that is kind of becoming the deciding factor here, going back to Alex Caruso right here, okay, are these little statistics down here that you see off to the right bottom side. 40% on corner threes, 89% of his threes are assisted, 62% of all his shots are threes. Now going back to Dort, all right, is the fact that he's shooting a little bit better on corner threes, and he takes all his threes off of passes, off of assist. And that's really what we need. We need someone out there in the corner that we know, yeah, we're going to rely on him to knock down the three. And shooting 39% from behind the three-point line compared to Caruso's going back to fourth year right now to 41%. Not that big of a decrease at all. We can live with that. Truly a 3-and-D guy. He did average 11 points a game for us last season. And then, like I said, 99% of his threes being assisted. That is insane. And 41% on corner threes, because we really just need someone out in that corner when we run pick and rolls, moving the ball around. When someone comes to help on the backside, they're going to be open right there in the corner, knock down the three, and we can rely on them to make that. and we can rely on Dort there. I'm not saying we can't rely on Caruso either. I just think Dort should be the starter over Caruso because A, he's been with the team now. This is what, his 6th season with the team. You got to keep that in mind. You got to put that into effect there. He already knows everyone on the team. He knows how to play with everyone here. He's been with the organization a long time. All right, he has earned that starting spot. Secondly, Dort fouls more. He does. I want him in there first, setting the tone that we're going to be aggressive and physical. And if he does get into foul trouble, Caruso doesn't foul as much as Dort. You can sub him in there and let Dort cool down a little bit. Calm down, be like, okay, watch what you're doing here. A lot of hand checking. You're just going up a little bit too strong there. All right, causing a lot of fouls. Just calm down. Take a minute. Breathe. We're going to put Caruso out there to take your place just for a little bit since you are in foul trouble. You have 2 fouls with 6 minutes left here in the first half of play. Just calm down. Let Caruso handle this now. All right, he can close this out, and then you'll go back in and start the second half and really set the tone there. That's kind of what I have in mind right now going into this season. Dort should be the starter. I think Caruso should be the 6th man, and he would even win 6th man of the year in my opinion because he would average like 12 a game as well with this lineup, along with a steal and blocking game again, probably around 3 rebounds as well, 3 assists. Shooting wise, he'll be up there for sure, and he'll be the difference maker for this team off the bench. Plus, I think it's nice to have that veteran leader coming off the bench for our second unit there. I think it's nice to have that. Guy who's won a championship, a guy who's now considered a veteran in the league coming off the bench, leading that unit there. All right, kind of taking charge, being that floor general for our bench unit when they have to come in and let our starters rest. I'll take that. I think Caruso would really strive in that role. But that's also my personal opinion. That's all I got for this video. Let me know what you guys personally think. What are your thought process? What's your thought process on this? What do you guys are thinking? Who should start? Lou Dort, Caruso, or should both of them start? Let me know down in the comment section below, and I'll see you guys in the next video.